And welcome to Dubs Only. It is a nice, calm, quiet Wednesday night. The Warriors have lost game 3, 116-100. Josh Hall, you are across from me. It's a tough feeling tonight. It's a tough feeling because let me tell you, the Warriors, they could have done a couple of things a little bit differently and they would have taken this game. They could have taken this game, but that's just not how the cards folded tonight.
It's not, unfortunately. And like we talked about last podcast, we really wanted the Warriors to win tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But, before we got ahead of ourselves, there's still a lot more basketball to be played. So tonight, we can be sad. We can be upset. We can feel those emotions of losing an NBA Finals game. But there's still a lot of basketball to be played. Warriors still have home court advantage.
If they win on Friday. We can dive deep into what happened and what went wrong in game 3, but I agree. There's a lot of basketball still to be played. Game 4 is a must-win game, and the team will regroup. However, the big question now is Steph Curry okay?
Yeah.
2 plays at the end of the game. Crazy loose ball that you just knew the Celtics would end up with, right? Then Al Horford falls on Steph Curry's foot or lower leg. Gets
nothing
shaken
malicious
up
there.
Nothing malicious.
No
on
intent.
Either of these plays.
That's both of them are basketball plays.
Right.
The second being Marcus Smart.
With push into Steph's rib cage looked like unfortunate, but he never left to go to the locker room or anything like that. So that's a good sign. But you know what? Unless it's something really serious, and fingers crossed, you just can't see. I can't see Steph not playing game 4.
No, he's not missing game 4. He knows how important game 4 is. He's not gonna let this championship run be decided by him missing a game.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? My perspective on it is like you have the whole summer, even some of the next regular season, really, if you want to recover. This is what you play for. Man, where do we start with this game? What do you want to start with tonight, Josh?
I think we start from the beginning. I mean, because we knew Boston was going to come out strong, and they did. But usually the Warriors are able to cool those hot starts, whether it's towards the end of the first quarter or in the second quarter, they're usually able to cool those teams off. It happened in game 2. Tatum and Brown started that game off hot. Tonight, they just stayed hot in that first quarter. And that was a sign at first where I was like, oh, shoot, this is going to be a difficult game. It's going to be no cakewalk. But we sort of predicted that. We knew it was going to be a tight game. Jaylen Brown tonight. That first quarter,
He was awesome.
17 points.
I know he won't if the Celtics win this series, but I think he's the finals MVP if the Celtics take it away. He's knocking down everything. The Celtics came out blazing. The Warriors looked like their defense was just allowing everything. The Celtics, give them credit. They were passing the ball really well, getting to the basket, but it was just way too easy on them for pretty much the whole game, except for a couple of stretches in the third quarter where the Warriors were the better team. The Celtics were the better team easily, pretty much all 48 minutes tonight. And one player that I would like to critique tonight is Draymond Green. I think this may be one of Draymond's worst playoff performances we've ever seen. On defense, he really didn't put up much of a fight. 0 steals, 1 block. He finished with 2 points on 1 of 4 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3, 4 rebounds and 3 assists with 2 turnovers as well, and he fouls out of the game. It's like if the Warriors want to win the championship, Draymond needs to carry his goddamn weight, and he just didn't do that at all tonight. And it's so frustrating to watch because you know how he's talked about it so much, about how he lives for these moments, how when the pressure is on, that's when he dives deep and can grind out the plays that you need to win. And he did a lot of that in game 2. But tonight, just nothing from him. And during the runs when the Warriors could have really capitalized and put the knife into the Celtics a bit more, he never had it.
They were out hustled on the boards completely. I mean, almost every Celtics player. Well, first of all, every Celtics player who had extended minutes had more than 5 rebounds, except for Derek White. But, he's a guard, so you can understand that. But Williams, Horford, and Robert Williams
right,
all
and
had, and Grant Williams combined for 23 rebounds.
Yeah, and the Warriors as a team had 31. The Celtics out-rebounded the Warriors in the offensive glass 15-6. And, dude, every single one of them was just a stab into the gut.
You felt it. It wasn't like dead possessions afterwards. They capitalized on those offensive rebounds.
Right.
And I think the Celtics shot 58% in the first half.
Pretty high, yeah.
Ridiculous. You can't win. It doesn't matter how good of a third quarter you have.
I mean, the Warriors were lucky. They came back from down 18 points to take a 1-point lead. And I don't think they ever had the lead again after that.
No.
And it was brutal. And, those offensive rebounds killed us in the first half. It seemed like whenever the Celtics did miss a shot, they got the offensive rebound and they scored. I remember thinking, when was the last time the Warriors actually got a stop? The Celtics scored 68 points in the first half. The Celtics are a great team. The Warriors screwed around for most of this game, put up one stretch of good basketball, and they were in the lead with 14, 15 minutes left to play in the game. That's how good the Warriors are. But the Celtics are a better team than they faced at any point. And they're too good for them to screw around this much and expect to come out and win. And that's why they're down 2-1 in the series. And they did it in the fourth quarter in game 1, and they did it in the fourth quarter again tonight. It wasn't as drastic of a difference. The Celtics didn't put up 40 points, but the Warriors scored 11 points in the fourth quarter. Awful. That's right off the gates. It was a Jordan Poole travel. There were 3 Steph Curry turnovers, Draymond dropping the ball. Dreadful. Just painful to watch because after the whole fight of coming back from down 18 and making it a game, and Klay Thompson's hitting his shots, they just were like, no, this isn't it.
The rotations were weird too. I get with the foul situation with Steph and Draymond, it might have called for it. But Steph sitting the last 2.5, 3 minutes of the third quarter,
that was strange,
and playing the entire of the fourth, it was strange. I felt like it sort of threw off the rhythm. I think they could have ended the third quarter on a lot better of a note if Steph played that entire third quarter and they kept their regular minutes. It just seemed like it threw things off.
While we're here, what did you think of the fouls called on Steph Curry tonight?
Thought there could have been a lot more called.
I mean, the fouls that he got called for.
Oh, those.
There could always be more fouls called for Steph Curry to get to the line. I mean, how many free throws did he take? He got fouled in that 3, that flagrant. It was the flagrant free throw. It was his only free throw attempt in the game.
I mean, when Scott Foster's officiating a basketball game, something's going to go wrong.
I don't know. It felt like the game started off with Steph getting called for a really soft call. I'm like, this might be one of those games where Steph's in foul trouble, and the Warriors have seen it over and over again. And it just seemed like whenever there was any sort of momentum that the Warriors could carry over, the beginning of the third quarter too, Steph Curry reaches on Marcus Smart. He gets 3 free throws, turnover, then a layup. They cut the lead to 8. It's back up to 13. I don't know, man. It's not like the NBA dictates how these games go or that they had a script or anything. I'm not saying that, but
No.
it felt like the Warriors just wasn't there. It wasn't supposed to be their game. Like, they could have played a whole lot better. They could have stolen this game, but it's what you have to pack it up, forget what happened, to an extent, and go out and just win game 4. I do not want to see the Warriors down 3-1. Make it 2-2. We have home court advantage. And game 5 on Chase Center floor wouldn't be so bad. Wouldn't be so bad. There's just a whole lot they need to fix.
What did you think of the overall rotation tonight? I mean, Looney only getting 17 minutes. Gary Payton only getting 11 minutes. It felt off to me.
Yeah.
They
were scrambling a bit.
Yeah, they were scrambling a little bit. And I get Curry and Draymond going into foul trouble dictates some of that. But I mean, I don't know. I felt like I would probably have given more time to Gary Payton, give it more defensive, try to shore things up, maybe give more minutes to Looney. I mean, he's a good, versatile center. He can guard outside. He's not a paint protector necessarily, but against Horford, like, that's not a bad matchup.
Yeah, it's the Warriors' interior presence tonight it was not felt at all. I would like to see Looney a bit more. There were some times when Horford would get the ball down low and he'd just size up Curry or he'd size up Otto Porter and make it pretty easy. And I don't know what to think about Horford and Marcus Smart because today they combined for 35. Marcus Smart scored 24 points. It's like, you don't prepare for that, man. And he hit some back. He banked in the 3. As soon as that banked 3 went in, it's like, all right, it's what I said. It's not the Warriors' night.
Marcus Smart, I give credit to Marcus Smart.
Totally.
He's a great basketball player. He's going to have those nights. And they could be more consistent like that. He's done it in the past and in the regular season where he's been consistent from range. It was just the points in the paint. It's probably one of the first games in the playoffs where the Warriors got dominated truly in the paint.
And
if you're looking at points in the paint, it's 26 for the Warriors, 52 for the Celtics. You gave up double the amount of points in the paint.
Mm-hmm. And only 26 points in the paint for the Warriors is way too little.
It's way too little. And then you get out rebounded by 16 rebounds. You turn over the ball 5 more times, give up 2 more points off of turnovers than you scored. I mean, it got sloppy at the beginning of the 4th, where all those turnovers, and you cannot start a 4th quarter that sloppy. That gave the game away. That gave away the game. And then that's when you're chasing quick shots where you're not getting those rhythm shots. I mean, props to Klay Thompson coming out tonight and putting on a good show for 3 quarters.
It would have been a blowout if he didn't hit those shots. But I agree with you. And then towards the end of that 3rd quarter and for the rest of the game, he was just putting up, he was forcing shots.
And that's not how you get in a rhythm. That's not how you win ball games. If you want to fight, you pass up on that quick shot, maybe try to drive a little bit and kick out and run the Warriors offense a little bit more, where you're constantly in motion, passing to the next man. It just feels like he's rushing things. And we just want to see the old Klay Thompson. And I get 2 really serious injuries. It's going to be a different Klay. He's going to try to find shots, make his impact on a game.
But
in this case, it hurt. It hurt tonight.
Right. And however, the shots that Klay had where it was catch and shoot, feet set, they were all going in. All of them. Like, just trust that movement. And the Warriors went to the pick and roll a lot more in game 2. And the Celtics made adjustments. The Celtics played great tonight. They deserve to win this game. It just stinks to lose when the Warriors, I feel like I say it every single time, they're capable of playing so much better. Steph Curry's been awesome this series. He's been awesome. And, ideally, he's just not in that much pain going into game 4. He can pick up the speed. 31 points again tonight. It's just, can they string together enough consistent basketball, just solid passing, taking care of the ball, grabbing rebounds? If they can't, the Celtics are a great team and they're going to capitalize.
You look at Clay in this, when you're looking at the Warriors offense, Curry with 31, Clay with 25, Wiggins with 18. But then it's Jordan Poole with 10, Otto Porter with 6, Looney with 6, Draymond with 2. They need Poole to either take up that volume and score, 16. He needs to be matching Wiggins. You need that bench scorer because you need somebody else. Because let's say Clay doesn't take a couple of the shots, they move the ball a little bit around and they get a better shot. Maybe that's Otto Porter in the corner. Maybe it's a layup to Looney. Maybe it's an odd Draymond bucket, Maybe he's at the top of the key where he usually hits his threes, not on the wing or in the corner. The ball movement and trust in the system there.
Right.
And you need somebody else to pick it up because that's a great game for Curry. He goes 6 for 11 from 3. Clay, he shot over 30% from 3, so I can't complain with that. But 7 over 17 overall, there's room for improvement there. But Wiggins had another good game. 1 for 6 from 3. You need to maybe hit a couple more of those threes, and maybe the momentum shifts and the Warriors end up winning the game. I don't really care what the point differential is at the end of the game. It's all about momentum, hitting your shots, the clutch moments, and when they're needed to be hit. But
right, it's the simple stuff that the Warriors are going to need to do. The shooting, the offense. I think the issue on offense is taking care of the ball. It has been all season, but especially in the situations where it's like, no, we need to string together good possessions back to back to back. Those turnovers to start the fourth quarter were unacceptable. And I think for the most part, they ended up with 16 turnovers. Not great, but it's kind of around what they usually do. Most of them, in the first half at least. You know what? It was just like tonight, it felt like they started off behind. They needed to play catch up the entire time. So every mistake or every missed shot was like, no, it's not good. It really stood out. They need to get out of the gates and at least be level with the Celtics in game 4. No more playing catch up. None of that, because it's not Chase Center. The role players aren't going to play as well. They need to play really aggressive. So it's taking care of the ball better, having an interior presence at all on defense, and just being aware and not letting the Celtics get to those spots as easily, and rebounding. And we've seen the Warriors be a really solid rebounding team so far. Wiggins and Looney, they lead the playoffs in offensive rebounds. Wiggins only had 1 tonight, and Looney had 3. I'd expect more Looney minutes in game 4. And give credit to Robert Williams. He was just an animal tonight. But the Warriors can fix these things. The Warriors can fix it, and game 4 will dictate a lot. But
they showed that after game 1 too. This is sort of feels a little bit like game 1. Not necessarily the same players having the impact they did in game 3, but just sort of that like the Warriors could have won this game, maybe should have won this game. Just the offense wasn't totally there. Like game 1, Curry had 34, Wiggins had 20. It was Clay who only had 15. And it was, Jordan Poole having 9. Then there just wasn't much support elsewhere. But
yeah,
they
It's
they
just
make adjustments. They make adjustments well. I think,
and can they slow
you
down the
know,
Celtics in the first quarter of the next game?
that's going to be the key thing. You gotta make sure those first 6 minutes you keep it close, you keep it physical, and maybe you get some of their role players in foul trouble. I think that's a big thing. They weren't in foul trouble
And
tonight.
yeah.
They
See,
were
when's
not
the
in
have the
foul
Celtics
trouble
been
at
in foul
all.
trouble this entire time?
I don't think so. Not
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Um, you got to play physical. You got to get to the line. You got to draw the fouls. You got to make an effort to draw the fouls. And I
Yeah.
think that's one of the big difference makers right there. If you
Get to
can
the
get them
line.
in foul trouble, disrupt their lineup, disrupt their flow. I mean, you need the Warriors realistically just need 2 good quarters of basketball.
Yeah. I mean, that's how good they can be, you know? And they just haven't been consistent. They've always come off to these slow starts. They catch up a little bit in the second. In the third quarter, they destroy. And in the fourth quarter, they go right back to the first quarter antics of just, oh, what are we doing here? So that's where the question lies, is how do the Warriors respond and keep up that consistent effort throughout a full 48-minute game? Because we haven't seen it yet. Game two was the best example. And even then they started the game off down by 9. So there's a long way to go. The Warriors have been here before. We hear it all the time. They were down 2-1 against Cleveland in 2015, and they won the last 3. This is different, but they've been in the situation before. They can figure it out. But the Celtics are going to adjust as well. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown have been monsters on offense. They're getting to their spots. They're doing what they want. Marcus Smart is even getting in on the fun, getting into the paint. Unacceptable. Like, he didn't do that at all in games 1 and 2. And maybe some of that's foul trouble. Steph was in foul trouble the entire time and had to play. He had to give up an edge, but Warriors can't shoot themselves in the foot like they did tonight. Can't afford to do it again in the series. Like, even if they tie it up and it's game 5, like, they need to take the lead in the series. So it's a challenge. And I like this team. I still like the Warriors' chances in it, but like, if I was a Vegas odds maker, I wouldn't have the Warriors favored to win this series. The backs are against the wall. This is when you have to respond.
And we got to wait till Friday night for game 4.
Yeah. That's not such a bad wait.
That's not bad. I sort of like having a Friday night game.
Yeah.
You give Steph 2 days of full rest, gives the team 2 full days to formulate a
Today is
new game
Wednesday.
plan.
We have one full night. We have
We
Thursday.
have whoa. Okay. Here I am getting my dates confused, but
It's been a crazy week.
it's been a crazy week, but looking ahead to game 4, what do you want to see from the Warriors role players?
Does Draymond count as a role player?
No. I said role players. I'm saying Poole, Otto Porter, Kevon Looney, maybe.
Well, also just to mention what I had just brought up is that Klay Thompson just said, we've been in the situation before. I'm getting 2015 vibes. Man, I should have been on that podium instead of you, Klay. All right, well, they need better defense. GP2, probably more minutes from him. He played 11 minutes. I think he needs to get up to 20. I think that it's all defense for me, really. Like, GP2 can get in there more. Andre Iguodala, I don't know, maybe closer to 7 minutes than 2. Like, I'd be curious what it'd be like to have him in instead of Bielitsa. That beginning of the second quarter unit was in there very quickly. And I'd want a more aggressive Jordan Poole. He's confident, as ever. He always is. But if he can take care of the ball and get going downhill, that's when he can start creating problems for the Celtics defense. If he can score more than 10 or take closer to 12 shots than 8 or 13 shots, good. They just can't be like a bunch of movement, forcing them up. He'll probably have mid-range looks very frequently. The Warriors hit a lot of mid-range shots tonight. Steph was doing it a whole lot too. So I want more GP2. I want more Otto and a little bit more Andre, as well as an aggressive Jordan Poole.
See, I'm under the impression now that Andre should just be on the bench. I think it's more important to get GP2, Jordan, and Otto those minutes. Because I love Andre, but realistically, he hasn't played consistently in like 2 months. Like
more.
Otto Porter, Jordan Poole, GP2 have played basketball. I mean, GP had been out for the last month, going out early in Memphis, but it's let the new guard come in and play those minutes. Those were new role players that you brought in. Andre is a great basketball mind. You saw it early on when Wiggins got one of his first fouls. I think it was his first foul. Keep him on the bench if you need him when, if Draymond fouls out or whatever, and you need that, mind on the court. But give it to the guys who are maybe a little bit more athletic.
Here's where I see Iggy potentially getting minutes, because you're not wrong. He's been inconsistent. He hasn't been that great, and he hasn't been out there too much. But I think the biggest problems with when Iguodala is on the court is that he's usually been out there with alongside Draymond, where that's just two players who can't contribute too much to the offense in terms of a scoring threat. Andre is a pass first option. So is Draymond. If they can have a lineup of like Steph, Clay, Otto, Andre, and Poole, maybe that's a small lineup. Or maybe instead of Poole, someone like Wiggins. Maybe that would work. Yeah, Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Otto, and Andre. Could be interesting. You have enough shooters to space the floor. Andre can make some good passes inside, and Draymond can get his rest. And he can play good defense on whoever, For that for a couple of minutes and before, you get a GP2 in there or Poole or Draymond comes back in, I think that would work. But having him alongside Draymond or alongside Looney isn't the answer. And that's what Steve Kerr likes to do. So I don't anticipate that prediction of mine to really happen, but I wouldn't mind it. Boom.
I can't lie with that. I mean, I think it depends a lot on what Boston throws at you. Because I think if a Robert Williams is out there, maybe you need a little bit of a bigger body. Maybe it is Belly. Maybe it is Looney in for Otto. Because I don't think the combination of Iggy, Otto, and Wiggins would be able to fight the size. To my knowledge and what I've seen, I don't think I've ever seen Grant Williams be like their lone center out there.
Oh, they usually go with two.
They usually have Grant Williams with Horford or with Williams or Williams and Horford together. Some combination of a little bit two bigger guys in there. And that's worked well for him. So I think you might need to fight size with a little bit of size there. But if that's how Iggy needs to get his minutes, that I think that's how it needs to be done.
Yeah.
But
it's tough. Celtics are big and the Warriors aren't. And that's where the rebounding can kill you. The Warriors were outsized by Memphis and they were able to still out-rebound the team. They need to have that effort come out. It's just getting destroyed on the offensive glass not only gives up more points, but also just devastates you mentally. Can't have that. Can't stand for that. As far as Steph, Clay, and Draymond go, what do you need from them in game 4?
for one, you need a healthy Steph Curry.
Duh.
Right. Duh. Um, you need to see Draymond not play like shit.
Yeah, he needs to do something.
Just give me more. Even if you're not, you can have 2 points. Sure. Give me at least 8 rebounds. Give me a couple more assists, a block or a steal. Just that hustle and grit that he usually brings. Because he got out hustled today, and it was clear,
Whole
and he
team
knows
did.
it.
Yeah,
They
he had a
know it,
bad showing. He had a bad showing.
and I think he knows that. I think the Warriors respond. If I'm given my game 4 predictions, I think Clay has maybe a similar game, 20 plus points. I'm saying Curry has another game like this, maybe not 6 for 11 from 3, but still 30 plus. I think Wiggins shoots a little bit better. I'm going to go Warriors win 116 to 108.
It's tough because like I feel like the Celtics will be favorited and they deserve to. But it's dubs only.
It's dubs only.
And I'm not gonna say no dubs. So I say I'm gonna follow the pattern of the 2015 finals. I can't remember what the score was in game 4, but let's say the Warriors win 107 to 94. Respond with something big. The Warriors need to punch back. And we know, Josh, you and I know that they have it in them. It's just, can they bring it out again? And I think they can.
Game 4 in 2015 was 103 to 82. In that game, Cleveland actually had a better third quarter, outscoring the Warriors 28 to 22, but only scored 12 in the fourth.
Oof, that's Warriors-esque. Was that the game that Timofey Mozgov had like 30?
Let's quickly check the stats on that.
I remember that. Finals MVP.
Mozgov had 28 and 10 that game.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. The Mozgov game. So I don't expect the Nemanja Bjelica game. But let's say the Warriors win convincingly, get the momentum back, come back home, and just kick their asses. I want it badly. I don't want to see the Warriors come back from all of this and fall short. We need the ring. So Friday night, Warriors Celtics game 4. Another dubs only recorded right afterwards. Available morning after. And it better be good. It better be good because we will be grumpy.
I can't take heartbreak like that.
No, I don't want another sad summer.
Nope. Happy vibes only.
Happy vibes only. And that is how we do it. Good night, everybody. Or good morning. However it goes. However you're listening, we wish you have a great time. Peace.
Peace.